Welcome to our
Okay.
new episode of our Dream to Rise podcast. And I would like to present to you our next guest speaker, who is from Copenhagen. And he is
Yeah.
53 years old, still young,
Yeah.
living in,
Still
yes,
younger.
again, Copenhagen, Denmark. And besides
Yeah.
being the founder and director of Father Founded, he works as a blacksmith. He also has a
Indeed.
side work as a bartender in a local bar during weekends. He also volunteers in
Yeah.
music festivals in the summertime. But you know what? I know he has a lot of stories to share with us. So without
Mhm.
further ado, I would like to present to you Mr. Brian Hjort. Brian,
Thank you so
welcome to
much.
Dream to Rise.
Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to meet you, see you, and talk to you. And welcome from cold Copenhagen.
Yes. You know what? When you mentioned about Copenhagen, because my son is a chef, no? And he
Mm-hmm.
mentioned about Noma, one of the best
Norma, yeah, oh, yeah.
restaurants
Oh,
in the
most
world.
famous restaurant, only 50 minutes away from where I'm living, is always occupied. So forget about it.
Always occupied. So have you experienced eating there?
No, no
Oh,
way.
really?
That's my above my salary.
Huh?
It's too expensive, and
It's
it's always
expensive.
booked for years. You know.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well,
So
actually, when my son worked at the mini bar and Blue Hill at Stone Barns, I was also surprised about the how much they charge because they have
it
like
is how it is.
32 courses and so on. It's like
Mhm.
$350 per person per night, per meal.
Yeah, that's
Why?
how it is.
Ah, so it's the same as Noma.
It is indeed.
Oh
Norma
my.
is here close to me. Yeah.
Oh my. Okay. So let us start because I'm really excited about your journey, your life journey. So can you tell us something about yourself that brought you to where you are right now? You have
Okay.
founded the Father Founded. What is Father Founded? Okay, probably you could start from the beginning wherein you have.
Let's go all the way back to 1992.
Okay.
Me, I went to Vietnam in 1992 as a backpacker. I was walking around the street in Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon. And in those streets, I met a lot of young people just like me, same age, late teenagers, and youngsters. And some had afro hair, some had blue eyes and white, looked like white skin. And they were living in the street. They were begging. They were asking for help, and they didn't look Vietnamese, but if they didn't look tourist too, because tourists don't live in the street and begging. So I asked him through a translator, "Who are you?" And they said, "Me, me." So me, what does me means Americans? I say, well, if you're Americans, so what are you doing here in the street with almost no money and begging? And they were pointing in another side street. There was like a refugee office called the Orderly Departure Program. And he said, we want to get in there to get an interview. For what? I say, no, we want to go to America. So how? No, we had to prove evidence because our father was American military serviceman, and my mother was Vietnamese, and my father served here during the war in Vietnam. Met Vietnamese woman, mother had children. The father go home. The mother dumped the street children in the street because fear of having an American child after the war, and the children had been discriminated and called a bad thing, humiliated, had no love, had no family, had no future, no home, no address, no education. I mean, all the bad things. I said, wow. And he said, how is it change to go to the US? It's difficult if you don't have no evidence about the parents. And so how the people to call them bad names, spitting on them. I didn't like it. I mean, I don't today. I had no problem with Vietnamese, Philippine, anybody because good and bad people everywhere. So I asked, so why if you don't live here, why is the story? And say, if you get approved to get in for interview, we go to stay in like a transit center called the Emiratian Transit Center in another district in Saigon. I said, okay. And through a Vietnamese friend who's still my friend today and who I work together with still after that many years, we went out to the camp, and it was a big area, big camp run by the United Nations and the US government. And everywhere there was half American kids with family. Everybody's waiting, come to America or go to the interview. If they get approved, they had to wait to go in after to go to another camp in Philippines to get a new address in the US and learn a little bit of English. I said, wow, that's crazy place. It was like an Ellis Island or Noah's Ark, but that's for human beings, not animals. And I realized it was crazy world, and I saw how people was acting and living, and everybody was so nice to me, and they were so nice that somebody want to talk to them. And sometimes I had some issues in the camp that the local Vietnamese found out I was only foreigner there. Sometimes people want to rob you, and those half American kids took care of me, and because they understand what they're saying, and say, wow, those people are really cannot protect me because they don't want me to get robbed. So, and I want to help them somewhere. I did a little bit of translating, some paperwork, and in '93, I went to the Philippines because I tried to look at our Malaysian friend I knew in Vietnam, and I realized he went to Philippines. And I said, why you go to the Philippines? And I said, he had to go to a big refugee camp called Philippine Refugee Processing Center in Bataan.
Oh,
And
yes.
I said, well, so why are you going to the Philippines? You go to America. So I went into Manila, and actually it was crazy crazy thing happening. I go into this hotel, I was sitting down, have my breakfast. I said, wondering, how can I find this place? I was talking to a young lady. She said, okay, I'm a teacher in this place. I showed the photo of my friend. Oh, yeah, I know this guy. He's a very intelligent guy. Just here's the address. I drove out there. It was hard. It's big camp, 10,000, 20,000 boat people from everywhere in Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, the Vietnamese, Malaysian, the ethnic Chinese, Cambodian, Hmong, Lao, everything. And I met my friend, and this camp, and it was big. People were fighting, people tried to kill each other. Some lived there for 10, 20 years. It was dangerous. And in this camp, I became a friend with another Malaysian woman who's still my friend today, doing after all those years. He said, back in my village, outside up in the mountains, I had a good friend of mine. She's Malaysian. She needs help. Help for what? To locate her father in America. Okay. So I went back to Vietnam a few years after, met a friend, and her friend, she was very poor. And she said, look at this photo of my father. My father's name is Richard McCallum. And I said, okay. I said, what can I do with that photo? Flew all the way back to Copenhagen, went into the US embassy in Copenhagen, said, I want to look for this guy. I had his name, a few information. He said, you had to write to the military record center in St. Louis, Missouri. So I go home that time, no computer, only typewriter. Ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. 6 months after I got his military record with an old address in Oklahoma City. So I write that old address in a typewriter. 6 months more, I got a handwritten letter and said, I'm Richard. I'm so happy. I had a daughter in Vietnam. I had no children. I was there. I remember the woman. I accepted. And after everybody started to write to me, say, wow, I did it. Just me. Of course, my good Vietnamese friend who did translation. Everybody started to write to me, please help me. And call me, and nobody can speak English. And I said, wow, I did it. That's me and one person more. And then Vietnamese writing say, I had a son and daughter in Vietnam. Please help to locate. I'm sick. I had all this kind of Agent Orange and all the things in the body. People have PTSD. And everybody, infants can get bigger and bigger. And I say, I can grab the opportunity nobody else can do. I mean, there are different groups, but everybody's falling apart because people had the fighting. They get greedy. It's about money and power. I had no money, I had no power, I don't understand, but I'm just a little guy from a small town in Denmark. And and then it came out, and then we started developing a very bad homepage, and there was time with the Netscape and all this Windows, and I had no education in what this whatever. I just tried to learn and improvise and get better and to ask for help reading books. And then we started getting the news. We went up in New York Times, and then in Washington Post, BBC television came, and we did television in Vietnam, where they took Vietnam veterans back to Vietnam, and we find one of the kids who actually live in the US. And then we start to move on to the Philippines, about 250,000 Americans with children in the Philippines. And it start keep growing, and little by little we start to do, and I was doing been part of a documentary movie. And then we started to come up with the DNA test. It was very, very expensive and primitive. We had to take them inside Vietnam illegally, sorry to say, because not allowed. And then some years ago, it became, I mean, the Wild West. I'm not a paper guy. I can't sit down and record and file. I just, come on, many cases, we just started building family trees. Everybody's happy, and another documentary movie is coming out soon. And it was like a big mess of people, everybody running here and there. And then I got together with two beautiful women, Angela and Marnie in the US. Both have very good brains and they're good organized. And they said, let's make a real organization. You gave it fire, you could call it anything. I mean, Coca-Cola, anything. It's just because it was in my mind that what they call this makes a real legal organization with tax exempted everything. So they did all the paperwork and I did all the legal paper. Everything is legal. People can donate money so we can buy DNA test kits. Now we are the biggest company who send DNA test kit to the American Philippines. And we had Philippines, Vietnam, US, we did in Germany, Faroe Island, Denmark, and we have volunteers who work for free just like us. And we're organized, and it's like, wow.
Wow, this is amazing. Imagine you started everything. And it's just so
Yes, sir.
when you tried doing this being a backpacker, it was
Yeah.
was your main goal? What was your main goal? Is it for leisure, for travel, or really to
No, that time when I was doing the backpack, at that time I was finished education in Madison, and I was fed up
education?
being home. Yeah, I was fed up being home, so I wanted to. I volunteered and I signed in to get into like a exchange student in a family in Thailand, and end up get kicked out because they were extremely boring. For a person like me sitting in some houses and wait for people to come home, it was like being locked up in a jail. So I ended up come to Bangkok and say, I don't want to go back to Denmark for what? And somebody said, you have to go to Vietnam. It's like there's like a bamboo wall. There's no tourists. There's almost nothing. So at that time, you had to get a visa to do everything in Vietnam. You had to somebody had to pay somebody to go to the Vietnamese embassy in Bangkok and pay somebody to get a visa. And you go to Vietnam, you have to pay to get another visa to go outside Ho Chi Minh City. It was like pay, pay, pay. But there was no tourists. It was like paradise.
Oh, so you had to pay all those bills and
Yeah,
everything. So,
yeah.
so where do you get? You have the credit card from your parents, or
No, well, I mean, do all this here, you just try to get the money you have and you work with the money you have. And then you
oh,
use your brain and your heart and
good.
some things is for free. You use that and you try to get it bigger. And sometimes you get donations because people know me for many years and know I'm transparent. I don't cheat people because they can see me. I don't have a big bank account. I don't have anything like that. I try to do my best with the means, my mind and my heart, and be creative and try to keep pushing. Sometimes you get hit and then stand up again, and you get hit and stand up again, and you keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and never give up. Find new way of doing it. And is that the wrong way? Next way. It's
Yeah.
up or down or this way. In the
Uh,
end, you have to find a way and never give up.
exactly. That's the always because a lot of people they just give up. But then there are
Forget about it.
different strategies, different ways which could really be more effective. Now, in terms of you really helping these people, the Americans, find their
Mm.
parents, their fathers.
Yeah.
How long? For example, the first case of you finding the father of one
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 woman, yeah.
one
American woman,
woman,
yeah.
how long did it take for her to find her dad? The
No,
process.
but when I was in contact with her, I think it took 1 year something because that
Oh,
time no
it
computer,
takes
no
time,
nothing.
huh? It takes time.
Yeah, because we had no computer, we had only the typewriter, so we had to write typewriting a letter to the military record center in St. Louis, and they sent it back, and I had to typewrite a letter to the father. I mean, now we had a computer, everything, things, internet, things go faster, but there's no cases. It's not like you're buying a bottle of a can of Coke, everything is the same. It's not like one case can take one day because of the DNA test. We all use the ancestry DNA or 23 and DNA, 23andMe DNA test. So you can maybe I do a DNA test and come back and had a father, or maybe I wouldn't have a father, maybe I had a great uncle or second cousin. It can take a long time. I had cases that took 25 years because the father was adopted away. So that means you're looking for a non-existent person or ghost, you know.
So what is
So
the,
there's
oh
no,
my, the ghost? That means it's a very long time, no? So
yeah.
so for example, you mentioned a while ago that the woman found her dad and
Mhm.
they leave. Are they living together now as or
No, no, no. That was the one
reconnect?
of the saddest stories. That was one of the saddest stories because she's still in Vietnam. Her Vietnamese husband didn't want to go to America, so he forced her to stay back in Vietnam. I
He
mean, yeah,
he
he was
adopted her.
yeah, he didn't want the Malaysian. I took the Malaysian lady and all the family to the refugee office, the U.S. refugee office in Saigon. I got her approved to come to the U.S. on the refugee program, but her husband was not really intelligent, afraid to lose her, so he forced her to give up and just stay behind Vietnam. And the father passed away. That's how it is.
But
Sometimes
at
you're
least
happy, sometimes you're lucky.
yes, but at least she was able to talk to her dad.
I mean, by a written and a letter, yes, but never physical, no.
Ah, no,
Because he was in the US
yes,
and she's in
yes.
Vietnam.
But
What can I do?
she really
Yeah,
wanted to find her dad or meet
yeah.
her
But listen
dad.
to me. There's no, if somebody give me a case and I can solve the case, but I cannot promise happiness. I'm not like it's not like a box. You know, you open the box and you know inside what is you get and everything is beautiful. I mean, I cannot guarantee the father want to talk to you, love you, is alive, is dead, is alive. It's not a young man riding on a white horse coming in and pick you up and take you down in the sunset. It's not like that. The reality can be ugly.
Yeah. So what was there a time wherein there was a happily ever after result wherein the
Oh
father
yeah.
and the daughter or the son were able to be united and lived
Oh
here?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
were
I
there?
mean, now we have many cases. Most of the cases are now in the Philippines. You know,
Ah,
the
really?
Malaysian Philippines cannot come to America because they don't have the same rules like the Malaysian in Vietnam. But we had several veterans who fly down to the Philippines and met the children in the Philippines. And we had some cases when the father took the son or the daughter to the Canada, and they get Canadian resident, and they can come and meet each other in Canada.
So how about the mother? Did the father also took the mother or just the children?
No, 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 no. A lot of the time, the mother had many relationship with the fathers. If you're working as a bar or discotheques or
Oh yeah.
sorry to say, in this kind of a hospitality industry, some of the mother can't even remember the name of the father. It could be Robert, John, Jones. If yes, she been with a 10 different men, sorry to say, it is how it is. And
Hmm.
sometimes they give us wrong information and say this guy came from this and that. And when it turned out the DNA test shows somebody 100% different person, different name, different age.
Oh.
And it's always surprise, surprise, Jack in the box. You don't know what you get before you open the DNA test. And it
Okay.
has been a lot of trouble, a lot of very bad talking between the mother and the child. And
So how was the process wherein was there a case wherein the mom wouldn't let the, her daughter to go and live? Or are
yeah,
there
what can the mother do? Many times the mother doesn't exist. The
ah really?
Americans.
Even the mothers doesn't exist.
No, because they gave up the children to adoption or put them in a
Oh,
orphanage or they kick them out in the street. When I was in Philippines last year, a lot of
so
Americans live
the
in the
children
street.
are homeless,
Yeah,
trying to
homeless
feed
or
themselves.
familyless. No family, no nothing, no identity. No, I had one case where one American woman in Philippines, amazing person with her own kids. She had no idea her mom, and we located her father with a DNA test and she tried to write to him. Then we sent him hand-picked letter in the US, no response. He had a new Philippine wife. To realize she got the letter, she picked up the letter and threw it out. And we tracked the guy, father down back to the Philippines a few days, 2 weeks ago. He went down to the Philippines with his new Philippine wife. And we had one American guy living in the Philippines who worked with us, and he was able to locate the father. He was watching Super Bowl, and he got in contact with the guy by phone. And this American guy who worked with us said, "You had a daughter in the Philippines. She's a beautiful person. You want to talk to her?" I said, I don't care. I was a white guy in the Philippines. I had so many women. I don't care if I had the kids. That's a problem, not mine.
Oh my. So
Disgusting, sadly.
there's this thing of rejection as well.
Yeah.
The feeling of
You're
rejection from
so
the
sad. He
children.
said, "Hey, I just want to see my father once. Sorry, I can't promise you happiness. It's not part of my not part of my contract with the life.
Oh my. Oh my.
It's all
But
beautiful,
you
isn't it?"
know, this kind of the result, at the end that they they don't want to be responsible for their children. It's just so sad, no? It's just
Isn't
so
it?
sad. But you're doing it all by yourself. How do you get funding for this?
Okay,
Traveling
let's say
from one place to another.
let, let's say like it. I'm not doing all by myself because I had my organization. I had Father Founded,
Oh
but
yeah,
Father Founded
but
don't
before.
found. That's familiar when people come out to support. Some people donate money, and I spend. But the money I have on myself, and I don't live expensive. I don't spend a lot of
Yes.
money. I mean, my dream now is still I had this dream. Is somebody watch this program and had a lot of money? I don't believe, but I always hope that if I raise enough money, I will take one relative of an admiration, because now we have people coming up from who had children or had siblings in Philippines or Vietnam. And one person come up and say, "My father served in the Philippines. I believe he might have a son, a daughter in this and that place. I would love to take that person to that last address or this area with my volunteer down there with a film crew and follow them, because that'll be a personal story and get out to the news, not just me walking around with a local guy and say, "Do you know this person?" No, it'll be better for the American people to see some of their own one looking for some of their
This is wonderful.
relatives.
This
And
is
I try, yeah, and if I can raise let's say $10,000 personally for doing this, I will be happy. I mean, I don't have that money, honestly. But if somebody out there was looking and want to support and donate, I mean, there's many ways. They can always contact me, because
yeah.
now people know who I am, and they can see me. And I mean, it's just my own sideshow, because it's not cheap to do what I'm doing.
Of
And
course.
sometimes I get hired by a Vietnam veteran to look for the kids in Vietnam. It's happening, but it's not every time. I mean, if you hire me, I have to do something. I mean, I cannot just go into a place, sit down, drink and beer, and I did it. No, I film what I'm doing. I try to cover, I take photo, I interview the whole area.
Of
It's
course.
time consuming.
It takes time and effort, really. But
Oh
could you
yeah.
give me like a percentage of the success rate wherein you try to match the admiration to the father? Would you say success, meaning to say the father adopted their child or got their child? How many percentage? Is it
I
50%
don't know.
or 25% or 10% only?
I
Uh,
don't
we're
honestly.
very happy.
I had no idea. You know why? I wouldn't sound rude or ignorant. It's because, you know, now what we're doing has become so big. I'm up here, and I had all the people I work together with, and then I have more people down in chains. We had so many cases coming in. You had no idea how many tests we sent out. It just become, I mean,
Like how many,
not like
or like how many cases do you work on right now?
where I hear is that we send 600, about maybe up to 600 DNA tests to the Philippines.
That's per month, per week?
No,
Hey,
that's 1 year and a half or something. And it's a
one
lot
year
because
and
we
a
got
half, 600,
about that.
600
Yeah.
DNA tests.
Yeah, and it might not sound a lot, but if you're only a group of people and you have to raise the money to get people to sponsor because we are not rich people. Angela, Marne, and me, we are family. We are just normal blue collar working people. We take care of our family ourselves, and we do the with the means we had, and people sponsor the DNA test, and of course we show we use a DNA test. We don't keep them for ourselves. So it might, in some eyes, doesn't sound a lot, but we're not big organization. We don't have any big funding from company. I mean, if some company look at this and say, "Wow, we want to support it," come into our homepage, and you can see how you can support. Same time, if you want to volunteer and help us, you can see whatever you can do. We can need anybody, but we are just us. We have to wake up every day and
And
go out and
exposure you've had, imagine with the New York Times and other media,
yeah.
that's a big, big break for you. So uh, have they also helped? Is that, I think that's their way of helping you as well, no? Being featured in the
Mhm.
newspaper, television, and now documentary films. Are you the one doing the documentary film or someone sponsored?
No, but it's the documentary. All this in newspaper. It
All
doesn't
is in
didn't
the
doesn't
newspaper.
no
Okay.
no no no. All the New York Times, Washington Post, and all it doesn't come out from the blue air. It come out to call them, write them, send them information. You use years. For New York Times, it took me years even getting in contact. I met them in the US. I feed them with stories. They had to building up stories to put in the newspaper. It's not just 5 sentences. He's from Denmark, blah blah blah. No, it gave them good stories, good content. And after I gave them a 1.5 page almost, and after that, it just blew up, and we got 2 pages 2 times in Washington Post. Had different newspapers in Denmark and Brazil, Vietnam, anywhere. It's kind of crazy. And then BBC contacted me, and I went to the BBC Outworld to Vietnam, did film there, and it was beautiful, amazing. And then I did some work on a documentary movie about the Afro-American soldier who served in Vietnam. And now this movie coming out next month about a one American. I helped to locate his father in the U.S. and we follow him how he do the search for his father and how he meet the father's family in the father in the U.S. It's coming out next month.
Wow.
I'm not in the movie. I was supposed to be in the movie, but they cut me out. But I'm still an associated film producer, and I did the content in the movie. It doesn't make me bigger, better, bigger person. I'm happy what I did.
Yeah. But this is amazing. This is awesome. Have you have you seen yourself doing this before?
Before I did it, no,
No, have you imagined yourself doing this during that time when you were a backpacker? No, no. It just came up.
no, yeah, but I
And
mean,
then there was this sense of um empathy, seeing the people, the street children,
yeah,
uh no food, no place to live, and then they will just beg, but they
mm,
have that the right also to know their parents because they were born. But how
yeah.
come the parents just left them on the streets, no? And
But you
that's
have to understand. If you don't understand, you have to learn about the story. You have to learn how they are. I mean, the mother gave them away of fear because after the war and having American boyfriend or spouse, it wasn't that good. I mean, and so
yes.
they gave them away of fear, or maybe they run away because the family didn't want to know maybe the mother had been married to another Vietnamese and. Her family don't know she had a half American child. Of course, she was afraid. Maybe she come from the village, far away from big cities. So before she going home and she's pregnant, she gave the children away to somebody else, who gave it away to somebody else, and end up kicked them in the street. And
Uh-huh.
it is how it is.
And who are impacted? The children, right? Imagine the
Yeah,
children are the one being impacted, and they are now
yeah. They grow
suffering.
up and nothing. They
Uh-huh.
just try to survive. I mean, they're survivors.
Oh, yeah, huh? So this is the purpose. Your purpose is amazing. You're now living your purpose, helping them, helping the children
Mm.
find their father. That's the main
Yeah.
reason why you founded what's this? father founded, no? Is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
organization. And not only
yeah,
you're focusing on this, you also work as as a blacksmith and a bartender. So
yeah. But
your time is really, you're tied up with so many things. And then at the same time, and this serves like a volunteer work, right? You're not
yeah, but
just
I mean,
getting
I mean, it's not difficult because what we do in Farfan is not easy. It's not difficult. Of course, it's difficult to locate people, but it's good because we are a good team. I work together with two amazing women, and together we organize things. It doesn't mean I'm sitting and doing a lot because I
but
did a lot before. I'm
yeah,
just trying.
yeah. But then the main thing is you're doing this out of service. Out
Yes,
of Yes, out of service. And that's what I admire about you. And
I'm
this,
doing because I feel you have to be a little bit crazy what you're doing. You have to have this crazy out of mind personality. You have to be honestly. You have to say what I will say. I don't give a shit. I don't care what people say. I
yeah,
just keep doing. I don't care what people prejudice. People thinking what they're saying. This is good and this is bad. Why are you doing this is that? I mean, I don't know how. I think younger generation now they don't help anybody only because they can get money and fame or go on Instagram, on YouTube or TikTok and do one. That's beautiful. That's good enough if you want that. But it's not right. For me, it's not how it is. My parents always did voluntary work. My parents did voluntary work. My grandparents did some way more different. But anyway, everybody do something to help the community. Now I just select what I'm doing. It not in my community here, but some far away. And that's how it is.
yeah,
Everybody had their own means of doing. And what I mean, it didn't came to me. I didn't came to it. It just happening. And I
yeah.
said, wow.
And
I
because
mean, you
there's
find people.
this sense of love and purpose that came from your heart, and that is to help them. And that's what I always tell or ask the people. Most of the time we complain of what we have, no, and not being
Mm,
grateful for what we complain about what we lack, and not
mm,
be grateful for what we have. And here
yeah.
you are, you're a family man with how many
Yeah.
kids? One,
Only one,
one.
one daughter.
You're also supporting your family, being a
Yeah.
blacksmith and a bartender. But this is a big piece of project that you're doing for the world, for the people who are lost because they
Mm,
would like to find their parents, their father. And that's a
yeah.
big task to handle. Oh
Yeah.
my.
I never thought about that. I was thinking. I never thought about it. I don't think, wow, it's big or it's big task because it's not. I mean, that's something I put away for 1,000 years ago. I just when I let's say 20 years ago, it was like if you find somebody, sometimes I used to find a lot of fathers because I had different means. I was there when I get in touch with somebody, I'm jumping around like a monkey. We do the monkey dance. Hey, we are happy and crazy. And then it came so many cases, it doesn't mean it just like become McDonald's.
Mhm.
But I had the different feelings now because I'm older. I don't know if I'm wiser, but I'm older
Yes,
and
of
I'm more
course,
laid back.
wiser. You won't be doing this if you're not wise, my dear. My
No,
Brian.
wiser. It doesn't mean I'm wise, but I'm wiser. It means that I'm more laid back. I had more like I think we had a good basement of a base of our organization, and the issue is that we are based in the U.S. It's making me more relaxed because a lot of time I'm living in Denmark. Nobody know where Denmark is, and people in the U.S. are very suspicious when somebody calls from far away because you think you're a scammer, and that's fair enough because a lot of bad people want to rip you off. I'm not among that because I have no reason to do it. I can have my own money. I don't need your money. But now I work together with those two amazing women, and that they have more. It's better for them. They can call and contact people because they live in the same backyard. And it's giving me more freedom and more free time to do this podcasting, promote what we're doing, reach out to the news media, and I like if people watch me, and people watch what I'm doing or will be doing, please contact me. And
How
my
will they
biggest
be
dream is
able to
like
contact you? How will they be able to contact you?
go to our homepage, www.fatherfounded.org, and push contact. Find me on Facebook, my name,
Mm-hmm.
or Google me, my name, Ameration Vietnam. That way you find me. Because my dream is getting in touch with Netflix, HBO Max, because I want to make a series or film about all those Amerations still in the Philippines, how tragic the cases are, because every case is enough for making a movie of drama, a loss of love, anger, no parents. I mean, it's just so, I mean, each case are so sad. I
Yeah.
mean, loss of life, and people had no trust in nobody. And I mean, it's sad, it's humanity.
Yes. So again, your website is www.fatherfounded.org. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
yes,
then
indeed.
Facebook, you just look for Brian Hjort. And
Yes,
then for email, do you have an email
you
which?
can have it. I had an email too. It's a mail at fatherfounded.org.
Okay.
Or my personal is emails B like Brian, R like Robert, I like Ireland, H like home, J like Jacob at hotmail.com.
Okay. So for the next 12 months, what do you think is what are your goals for the next 12 months?
Okay, beautiful question. And I had some good answers. As
Uh-huh.
always. I had one goal is, like I say, I want to, if I could, of course, I don't know if a goal, a dream, or fantasy, or imagination. It could be a big cocktail. I want to raise enough money that I can take a relative of a Vietnam veteran or veteran who served in the Philippines, take that person back to the place. If I had a case and somebody had an old address, and I say my father served in the Philippines or Vietnam, I had this old address. I believe I had a sibling there. I want to go there, and then we want to take cameras where we had no money. And somebody come up and say I had $10,000, or maybe 1,000 people come out with $10, and I could raise that money. I will do it and have somebody to cover it by the news media. That's one of my goals, to raise that money. Then I had another goal is that, of course, I'm doing a beautiful podcast with you. I wish I could do more podcasts. And my third goal is that, of course, I mean, everybody's big dream isn't a little bit of a red carpet in Hollywood. If I could doing with anybody who has something to do with Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu, some TV producers or film producers who could do a series about those children who still mostly in Philippines, how the dreams are, the reality when they found out that nobody wanted them, or we can follow a veteran who went to the Philippines and look in his past and see how he's doing when he do the DNA test and realize he have a child in the Philippines. He go back to meet the child, and maybe he meet the woman and realize the woman can't even remember him because he was just one of the guys from the boat who came to the Philippines. And I want to find somebody who ready to do this kind of movie. This, it doesn't mean I have to be a movie. Forget about me. Is that those children? So you have to highlight those children and put in inside the television or the film in the
So
U.S.
they can be
to
seen
show
by their
people.
fathers.
Yeah, and I mean those children are children of Americans, and not some illegal people cross the border from here and there. I forget about that. That's politics. I don't want to be a part of that. I'm only to help people. And now, of course, I want people, and that's not for me, but that's for Father Founded. I want people to support what we're doing. You can donate money so we can buy more DNA kits. You can donate money so we can keep paying for our homepage, because it's not for free. It costs money to have a domain. Everything it costs money to do the searches. It costs money. It's come from mainly for our own pocket, and we're just like blue collar people. So people can come in and donate. You can see how you can do it. If you want to volunteer, if you know how to speak different language, if you're a search angel, you know how to help locating the fathers, or if you're a very intelligent person in how to do the fundraising, how to create a better homepage, a database. I mean, you have something called the volunteer on our homepage. You can scroll down, you can see what are you good at. I mean, everybody's good at something.
Yes.
I'm not born to be some kind of a founder, director, president. whatever you call me, I'm tired, doesn't mean anything for me. I just came into my mind and I tried to build up a little by little like a Lego, and that's how it is. And I
Okay.
mean, everybody can do something. Everybody born with a little bit of intelligent, a little bit of creative minds, and then
Wonderful.
finally, I want to come to the big PX, the promised land, to traveling around, do the lecture, meeting people, meeting. I want to meet the news media, television, radio, podcast. I mean, everybody can contact me. Let's share the story. Let's go together and do something, and share those story. I want to come over there, meet face people, talk to them, sit down and meet them and say, hey, forget about me. It's not about me. It's about all your own people.
Yeah.
Those children, I did have some American fathers, and how
Yes.
can you help them? And maybe one day everything worked perfect. I can sit down and say, I did it. You don't need me anymore because now you know how to handle it.
Wonderful.
That's
Wonderful.
my word.
What great, great goals for this. Are you planning to do this year? Why not, right?
Yeah, why not? But it's only depend about me. It depends about your people watch me and talk to me and hear my voice. That's why you need to contact me because I'm just a human being. Work together with
Yes,
two other human
through
beings.
media, through podcast, hopefully they'll be able to hear your story. But also from your end, there's also something that we need to do. Like, so what do you think would be the major roadblock of you not achieving these goals?
I'm mainly in maybe time and energy because
Limited
I've been
time?
doing this science. I've been doing this since 1992, and it takes time and it takes energy. And of course, you're not 20 years old the rest of your life. And then it takes, I think, a geographic issue too,
Uh,
because a lot of people who, if I mean, like I say, I work together with two amazing people, and then in the US. But if I contact people in the US and asking for something, it's more difficult because I'm not American, and
Yeah.
that's fair
And
enough. I respect that. They will be suspicious and think you're begging, you want something, and it's a balance for asking because you hope the people can support. Because people who know me for many years, they always try to support what we're doing, even the little means do it because they know everything will come to the right way, the right people. But most of the people won't because who I am, I could be anybody, and that's fair enough. I respect that because I would be suspicious if somebody calling from US, I write from you and say, would you mind to support? Give me $100 for what? I don't know who you are. I mean, you could be anybody, a copycat or a catfish, and that's probably the biggest.
especially what's happening right now, a lot of scammers, a lot of
Oh, yeah, we
people
have plenty of
hacking,
that.
yeah. So that's another issue. But having the social media, it's a big, a faster way to spread your message to the world now.
Yeah, but I mean, but it takes time, it takes energy, and sometimes
Yes,
it takes
it takes
energy. Sit
energy.
down here, knowing when I'm feeling here, I can go back and sleep, because I wake up 4:30 tomorrow morning. you
Yes, I
know.
know. I know it takes time, just like what I'm doing. It takes time and energy for them to trust me as well.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. And
yeah.
I'm glad that you trusted me when I
No,
posted
I'm trusty because
this.
I
When I posted this one in the podcast community, I'm overwhelmed with a lot of responses because they would like to participate. They would like to be a guest. So that means they trust me, and I'm so
yeah,
happy
that's
for
good.
that. Uh-huh. So it
But I
takes
think I
time
think
to
in,
build
I
that
think that
trust.
podcasting in the US is much more common. In Denmark, forget about it. Doing podcast, forget about it. Because in Denmark, you can only get into a podcast by known people if you are a old common criminal, or you're a
Oh,
famous person, or you have sex with a famous person and know how to dirt on the people. But if you're just an average person like me, then nobody want to talk to me. Because that's why I'm really respect, and I'm so happy for the podcast community in the US because they give you a fair chance to share your story, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate talking to people like you because you open up your camera, your microphone, and your heart to me, so I
mm,
can share my story. And even if people like it or don't like it, If they don't like it, I don't like to see my face, they can turn off. If you want to know more, they can contact me, Father Founden, and we can have
With
a
with your
discussion.
golden heart, my Brian, with your golden heart, I'm sure a lot of people will reach out to you. You are with you have your beautiful in and out in terms of you doing service for other people. So one
Thank
last
you.
item before we end this, what would be
Yeah.
your last a simple advice to the listeners?
In terms of me in general,
In what you're like, what have you learned from this journey that you're going through? Uh, what lesson have you learned which you'd like to impart to our listeners?
I mean, if you are somebody who want to do something different, you have to find out that you have to start by yourself and don't expect anybody to do anything for you before you can show you can do it by yourself. If you want to lead somebody or you want people to follow you, you have to be the one who start, and you have to get beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten, and then you stand up and get beaten, and people see what you're doing is work, and you have to be honest and keep your promise no matter what. Don't lie, don't back down. If you can't do it, tell them. And then you have to realize a lot of people who will turn the back on you, but those people who, when you prove you're honest and do the right thing, the right people come to you. That's how it is.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. And as what you've mentioned, it all should start from you. If you're
Yeah.
doing it out of love, of
Mhm.
service, I'm sure a lot of people will follow you. And
No, I don't know if they follow me, and I don't
it's
really
not
think
about
about it.
following, it's just about seeing the seeing what you're doing, the
Yeah.
importance of what you're doing. And more
Mm.
people might be able to help. They might even volunteer. They
Yeah. We will
yeah,
love a lot of volunteers because we are
yes.
just a bunch of not too young people anymore.
No,
We
yes.
can only do
So
that
this
what we
is
can do.
one way of probably leaving our legacy to the younger generation.
Exactly. And it does you don't have to do what I'm doing. I mean, you had a community where you live in your neighborhood. Maybe you have children in your neighborhood who don't go to
Yes.
school. You have to
Oh,
help them so they don't end up become criminals. Or you had, I mean, you can go and take the kids to the boxing club if they don't go around the street and beating up each other. So you use the energy, or the local soccer club, or crime prevention, or school, or anything. I mean, there's no way of not doing anything. It's up to you. I mean, if you don't want to do anything, don't complain about life. That's what I'm saying.
yes. Don't
Don't
complain.
complain about life. You don't do part of it. That's it.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Brian, for being
You're
here
welcome.
with me. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be happy to support your wonderful project. And I wish you all the best, Brian.
Thank you.
And may you be able to find the people that you need to make
Thank
this
you.
organization work and be successful. And
Thank you so.
don't forget me when you're
I
already
would.
Flix, when you're walking through the red carpet. I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. And everybody out there in the US, don't forget me. Remember me. Contact me, and let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. That's Brian Hjort. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Wait for our next episode. Have a blessed day. Bye.
Bye.